Look, I will have something to say shortly about a recurring theme in many public utterances this week by Australian and international luminaries at an energy forum in Sydney. We need to continue to remember that 67.2% of the Australian voting public did not vote for the Labor Party. But they're making pronouncements on energy policy as if they were endowed with biblical truth. Yet poll after poll reveals that they're out of step with mainstream Australia. Daniel Wild, the Deputy Executive Director at the Institute of Public Affairs, will join me in just a moment because the Institute has conducted an authoritative poll of 1,000 Australians. Now, data for this poll was collected by the marketing research firm Donata. They are the world's largest first-party data company with a global reach of nearly 70 million consumers and business professionals. So it's pretty credible. And 1,000 Australians were asked, simply, quote, should Australia build new coal-fired power stations to ensure families have reliable and affordable electricity all year round? Well, let's get an answer. And Daniel joins me. Daniel, thank you again for being with us. Politicians might demonise coal as an energy source, but not the electorate.
No, that's right, Alan. Lovely to be with you again. And the results of that poll were 55% of Australians agreed that we should be building new coal-fired power stations to have reliable and affordable energy all year round. And that's a very significant result because don't forget, over many, many years, practically every single major institution of our society has been demonising coal, whether it's the media, whether it's big business, whether it's the banks, even the Minerals Council of Australia and the other industry groups that are notionally supposed to be in favour of coal and in favour of the resources sector have been demonising the very valuable resource for many years. But Australians are seeing through this. What we know is that real Australians understand that you can't have a 21st century economy and society like Australia's without having 24/7 baseload power, which you can only get from coal. Now, what we know is under the policy of net zero emissions, at least 20% of Australia's electricity supply will be taken off the grid as 6 more coal-fired power stations will close down, such as Eraring in the Hunter Valley. But Australians do not want this. This is a very clear signal that they want more coal-fired power stations and not to proceed with the policy of net zero, which is taking coal off.
And of course, the part of the demonisation of coal-fired power is the fact that, oh, well, the plants have all broken down. Well, of course, if you've got an old car, it will break down. But why would anyone invest in a brand new coal-fired power station when the bias is always towards renewables and this demonisation goes on? But around the world, there are 345 high-efficiency, low-emission coal-fired power stations being built, many of them using our coal. Daniel, if you take the results by gender, these are very interesting. 54% of males agreed, only 26% totally disagreed. There is a proportion, 20% neither agreed or disagreed, but females, 55% totally agreed, only 22% disagreed, and 23% neither agreed nor disagreed. The age group distribution is interesting, isn't it? There's no evidence there, is there, Daniel, of the demonisation of coal. They haven't swallowed all this propaganda. What about the 18 to 24s?
Well, you're right, Alan. The 18 to 24s, 49% said that they agree that we should have more coal, which is almost double those who oppose having more coal-fired power stations. And I think this is really significant. Don't forget, this is a cohort of Australians that have gone through school, and many of whom are currently at university. They've been subject to this, what can only be fairly described as propaganda as it relates to coal, as it relates to climate change. And 1 in 2 of them can still see through it, and they can still understand the critical importance of coal-fired power. And this should give us all hope. What it shows is that our message is getting out there. Yep. And it's important to remember that the next generation is not lost. They are open to our message and they understand the importance of coal-fired power. So the key point I'd make, Alan, quite simply is support for new coal-fired power stations is widespread across the community.
That's right.
Real Australians can see through the inner city woke media.